Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into India's daily pulse. We're looking at the key news from June 17th, 2025.
Yeah, we've got quite a mix. Aviation safety, some big diplomatic moves, and critical domestic stuff happening too.
Exactly. So let's try and unpack all this, get you up to speed quickly on, what's really shaping things in India right now.
And what's interesting, I think, is how these headlines, which seem quite separate, actually start to paint a bigger picture. You can see underlying trends.
Connect the dots, right?
Precisely. That's what this deep dive is all about, helping you see those connections.
Okay, let's start with some very difficult news. The Air India Boeing 787 crash from June 12th.
Yes, the Ahmedabad to London flight. Just devastating.
Truly, nearly everyone on board, plus, tragically, 24 people on the ground. We heard 2 cabin crew members were cremated in Mumbai. Pilot and co-pilot funerals are today. Just heartbreaking.
It really is. And this marks India's deadliest airline disaster since back in 1997. So it's a major, major event.
So what's the immediate fallout?
Well, a high-level government committee has been set up pretty quickly. They're tasked with reviewing how aviation incidents are managed.
Okay, reviewing the management process.
Right, and that includes looking at whether there's redundancy, overlap between existing agencies and how effective they really are.
And the Boeing safety record concerns.
Absolutely. Even though the black box was recovered, this accident just intensifies those worries globally about Boeing. It really forces India to look hard at balancing its rapid aviation growth with making sure safety oversight is truly stringent.
Yeah, that balance is key. I saw Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran called it his most heartbreaking crisis. He urged everyone to stay focused.
Understandable. The impact is huge.
And it seems the ripple effects are already starting. This tragedy is apparently spurring industry-wide safety audits, emergency response review.
Yes, across the whole sector, which is necessary, of course.
Definitely. What do you think this does to public trust in flying in India? That's got to be a concern.
It's a critical point. Confidence will really hinge on how transparent and, frankly, effective these audits and any subsequent reforms are.
So a lot riding on the follow-through.
Exactly. Get it right, it could strengthen the system long-term, but any missteps could really damage passenger trust for a long while.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit from that somber note.
Yeah.
Outwards towards India's global footprint.
Right. There was Prime Minister Modi's visit to Cyprus. Quite significant.
Yeah, he received their highest civilian honor, the Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III. He dedicated it to 1.4 billion Indians.
And beyond the honor itself, if you look at the bigger picture, this strategically boosts India's engagement with the Eastern Mediterranean.
Ah, okay. A key area.
A very key gateway, yeah. For trade, influence into Europe, the Middle East. The visit also led to more cooperation deals, trade, tech, culture. It just underscores, really, how India's strategic partnerships are deepening globally.
Interesting. Okay, let's bring it back home. Look inward at governance shifts.
Yeah.
Mileskant resigned.
Yes, after a very long career, 45 years. He was the G20 Sherpa, formerly CEO of Niti Aayog, the main policy think tank.
And he's stepping down to focus on Viksit Bharat.
That's right. The vision for a developed India by 2047. His departure kind of highlights this broader pivot towards major developmental and structural reforms.
Like the census.
Exactly. The nationwide caste and population census, which has been delayed for a long time, is now actually scheduled for March 2027.
Okay, finally getting a date.
Yes. And after that, they expect fresh delimitation processes, redrawing electoral boundaries based on the new population data. It points towards, more data-driven governance, long-term planning.
Right. But alongside these big structural things, there are also immediate daily challenges, aren't there?
Always. Like the ongoing security concerns in Jammu and Kashmir, multiple drone incidents, artillery fire recently, causing evacuations, power outages, raises alarms about cross-border security still.
Yeah, that remains a flashpoint. And then that awful incident in Bengaluru.
The stampede at Chinnaswamy Stadium, truly tragic. 11 people killed, including a 13-year-old.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
CM Siddaramaiah ordered a probe, announced compensation.
Yes, 10 lakh per victim. These kinds of events, from border tensions to stadium safety, they just underline the immediate public safety challenges the government has to grapple with constantly.
It's a constant balancing act. But on a slightly more positive note, some other developments too.
Well, yes. There's a new COVID advisory out. 864 new cases reported. The government's advising states to check their oxygen and ventilator readiness.
So staying proactive on health preparedness.
Seems like it. And then there's this interesting trend in sports and tourism.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
India's young population is apparently attracting a lot more attention from global sports brands like Wimbledon. And this is fueling a rise in sports tourism.
Interesting economic angle there. So, okay, we've covered a lot. The crash, diplomacy, governance shifts, daily challenges, even sports tourism. What's a big takeaway for you listening in?
I think this deep dive really shows a nation that's constantly, moving, facing really complex challenges, yes, but at the same time asserting itself globally and pushing ahead with major internal reforms.
A dynamic picture for sure.
Absolutely. It's an evolving story, constantly changing.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. As India navigates all these critical points, citizen safety, internal structures, its global role, what do you think will be the most significant impact of these daily developments on where the country is headed long term? Something to keep pondering.